Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mauro Brigham from AANB. I'm here to launch a new interview session for LifeSpace. Before we get into our topic, let me just introduce our sponsor for today, and I will put it just right here in front of us. So thanks to Flock, we are bringing you this live space session. For those of you who don't know, Flock is a house of brands offering a wide range of seating solutions, tables, and accessories for working spaces. Flock combines an heritage and expertise on quite a few brands, which with their own story to tell, but united by a common goal of creating innovative designs with a strong focus on health and well-being of the users and the communities around them. So some of the brands you might know are Hag, Giroflex, Affect, Profim, 9 to 5, BMA, amongst others. So let me move on to our guest of the day, PJMARES. I will introduce him in just a second.
Do you hear me, Mauro?
I do hear you. Good afternoon.
Okay, I didn't hear it at the beginning, but I think it was a problem. It was something with my audio settings. No
Yes, and sorry for keeping you waiting.
No
this
problem.
technical glitches just always come up.
Yeah, always.
So welcome. I'm really glad to be speaking to you. Normally, Yoko was going to do the interview, but she was voiceless
Yeah,
today. So
I didn't hear.
So first of all, now it's also for me an opportunity to meet you as I was not very I had seen some of your projects, but I don't know you that well, so this makes it all the more exciting for me to really try to figure out who is PJMARES, what you are doing, the NOMAX kitchen concepts that you have. So maybe before we jump into that, you can tell us a little bit about your background. How did you become?
All right. I started as I studied interior design in St. Lucas in Brussels. After that, I did a specialization in furniture design in Mechelen. Now it's Thomas More, I suppose, because they changed a lot their name. From there, I had an internship with Dirk Meijlaerts, who was a furniture designer who also had DNA Lab, which was a design company who commissioned artists, who asked artists to make functional art. They were like the first ones. Now you have a lot of companies that do that, but they were the first who investigated the border between art and design. So I collaborated there. When I, at the time, my first steps in design, working together with Dirk, I worked as a stagiaire on a project together with Dirk. A project that Dirk did with Peter-Jan Scherpereel. And we had the same feeling for taste and same approach of design. So later on, when I had a lot of when I started working on my own, PJ came to me and said, "I have some projects. Are you interested to do it with me?" We did some projects together, and then one big one arrived in Antwerp, the whole interior of a house by Polish Antwerp architect Kaplanski, where we did the whole design. There also it was the first steps of NOMAX. And after that, we decided to start our company together, and PJMARES was born.
Mm-hmm.
That's the house we're talking about. It's not really NOMAX because it's a welded frame for the island, but the aesthetics were there, and it's because of the let's say the problems we had, or the not really the problems, but the uitdagingen. there were things that we could be better, and from there, NOMAX existed.
How did that set up? How did that take off in terms of the first design choices? Because indeed, looking at the how the product developed, I guess the main idea already sits out in the example that you put forward here.
The thing is, I really have a furniture background, so we started making furniture and little interventions in houses, not the whole interior. People started asking us to make kitchens, and there was always some kind of a modernistic approach, some mid-century feeling with warm materials that age well, etc. And we made like these metal structures as base of the kitchens instead of the regular melamine casings they normally use. But the problems we had, that's what we did there. But then I was on holidays during the summer, and I was thinking, well, it's two times the job. I'm a lazy person. If I can do something in at once, I prefer to do it at one time. And I thought, yeah, maybe we could, instead of filling a frame with regular cabinet volumes like ordinary kitchens are made, maybe we could use the frame as some kind of a space frame where all the doors and drawers are mounted on, which is a lot easier in logistics, because if you make a frame like that, you have to fill a lorry with air, because it's a big metal frame with nothing in it, to have it lacquered, and it has to come back, and it's very complicated in every way. And now we have like a digitally laser cut and folded pieces that are where the margins are like tenth of millimeters. It's always correct. It's always right. If there's a piece that goes broke, we can replace it. It has thousands of advantages against the old idea of how it has to look. I mean, the idea of how it has to look was the main thing, but now we found a solution to produce it, which is efficient and cost efficient, and it gives better quality. And we can there's also progress in the development. That's a structure of 6 meters we did in Antwerp, for example. It can be as small as you want, it can be as wide as you want. We can fill it in materially wise and with functions how for the clients everything is possible.
And in terms of materiality, how do you approach this? You have a fixed base palette of materials. This is open to discussion with both client and architect.
It's always open to discussion, but it's a strong image, which means people won't come to us for a minimalistic white kitchen with not a lot of detail. There are other people that do that better than we can. They know what to expect. We have less discussion of how it has to look. They always give an example. Okay, I saw that kitchen, that kind of material. Can you do the same for me? So it can still evolve, but they know what to expect, and that's important.
And as an interior designer, how do you work with my colleagues? How do you intervene in the conception of the kitchen space in terms of, as we discussed, materiality, given that there's usually, of course, a context, but also in terms of practical terms, functionality? How does it go?
I don't really understand what you mean in functionality for the client, how the kitchen functions, or
configuration, organization of the kitchen, how the different elements are disposed.
It's a bit of a natural process, because we already did a lot of kitchens in the passing years, so we know what's important, or I believe we know what's important. And yeah, it depends on the space what we have, but a small kitchen can also be efficient and very practical compared to a big one. It depends, but it's a really it's an important piece of our conception, because the kitchens we make, they'll always say it's a bit of an organized chaos. So it's always possible for the client when he lives in it to add other stuff like bottles of oil and things he used for cooking, etc. Because it doesn't have like the coffee table book syndrome, like I like to call it, when you have like the perfect minimalistic interior and you put some books on it not in the right way, it's out of balance. This is not the case. It's just by adding stuff that it comes to life, and that you see that's how the people, the owners, or the people who use it, work with it, and how what it means for them. So it's a very important piece of the side of the concepts. That it, in one way it wants to go away from the idea of being a kitchen, because people buy an interior and people buy a kitchen. There are two separate things. It's something really bizarre. What we try to do is make it a piece of interior, like it's a piece of furniture in the house, but at the meantime it has to be the best practical kitchen possible they can buy. It can't be something that's just nice to look at but not practical. So the two things are 50-50 important.
No, it makes sense, and in a way, I mean, I think it's known that the kitchen is the one place people want to be in a house. So there's definitely a special flair to this to this space, and the object that you are seeing here in the picture really
Voila.
participates to that.
You don't have the idea that there's like a kitchen put in the corner, but it looks like a piece of furniture, but it's really thought through how it has to function and how the user can use it.
And well, since again referring back to interior collaboration with interior designers, when you are working with interior designers, and of course to a certain extent architects also, do architects look for your input on how to make this space better? They give you all the freedom, or they come already with ideas that are predetermined and pretty fixed, knowing that they're working with your product, of course, and what makes your product?
That's a good question. We did some projects with architects, and now we're also we want to open another market with those kitchens. But there are two things. The products we did with other architects were also sometimes input from the client, who says, okay, he decided to work with an architect, and it was already an important choice. And then the next choice is, okay, I like this kitchen very much, and I would like to integrate it in the architectural product. There's always an open communication line between then the architect or the interior architect and us. But I never thought it was a difficult thing. Okay, I listen, and it's logic that the materialization is adapted to the global concepts. For me, it's obvious. And we listen, but it's also not the case that the architect says, okay, and then you have to do it like this and this and this. No, it's something. It's a how do you say? It's mutual respect between the parties that are involved, and for now, it worked out very good. These are some small details we do.
No, very very nice details for sure, and I guess referring back to what you said in the beginning, as clients come to you knowing what they know what to expect, I guess it's same applies to architects and interior designers to this extent. in terms of materiality, how, there's quite a lot of noise. I don't know if it's in your side, Tom.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'm at home and my wife just arrived.
Okay, no problem. So and looking into sustainability and how materials stand the time. How do you approach this when you are with let's say with the most basic material palette you use, but also when you want to introduce new materials in kitchens? How do you test? Do you test materials? How can you make sure that your kitchen stands the time?
In two ways, I would say. First of all, the concept itself is a metal frame where we only apply material where needed, which means if a wooden panel inside is not needed, we will not use it, which means if you have, for example, drawers, you don't have to make a casing and a back. We don't do it. It's only the drawers. That's one thing. Only a second thing is it's very easy to replace everything. You can also take the whole concept with you. It's not something, a regular kitchen, once it's built and you would move to another house, for example, yeah, you leave the kitchen and you build a new one. This one can be taken away, can be moved. Our showroom models, some of them has been moved 3-4 times from the showroom to fairs, back, forth to a client, without it change, and it doesn't change the quality of the kitchen itself. And then the third thing, which is important, is we work with a lot of partners. We started with a workshop of our own. We stopped that because we have too much materials we have to combine, and therefore the metal is built by a very good company in West Flanders, for example. They have know-how about how to make the best metal pieces. And for the wooden parts, and those are also the guys that do the installation, they also have know-how about how to produce quality products. So it's not a one-man show. It's we try to take all the best things and put it together.
On this image, for example, can you describe us the materials that you are using?
This is a special one. And it's a client in Antwerp who really says, "Bon, you can do whatever you want." It's a 70s house by, I forgot the name of the architects. But for example, the floor, it's a linoleum floor.
Yes.
It's renewed, but it's exactly the same as it was. The only thing that was wrong with it was that the color was bleached a lot, but for the rest it was still intact. So they put in a new floor, and this is an example of the NOMAX structure with lacquered panels, a lot of terrazzo we developed with Van de Wegen. There's some tissue from some fabric from Raf Simons for Kwadraat. And then some mirror elements, etc. But like the whole ceiling was there. We did the extractor hoods. That was a difficult intervention because with the ceiling like that, it's not easy to find an elegant solution. I think we did find it there. That the box there was added. Voila. Very happy with the result there. The client also.
No, indeed, it's the integration is really impressive. And when looking at this and from your training, if I'm not mistaken, you have worked with Fabian van Severen.
Yeah, that's correct. My first internship I did there.
Yes, your first internship, and going from a more minimal oriented environment into such design that we are seeing here. how do you go from one to the other? How do you
It were
evolve?
my first steps. Then I had to discover everything, and yeah, it's an interesting question. It were my first steps in design because I was at school, and now I'm let's say one very important thing we work with is the history of design. It's like looking what has already been done, and playing with all those influences. And it's obvious that the longer you're active or busy with it, the bigger your luggage becomes or your baggage becomes, and the more you can do. Uh, yeah, that's the reason I think
Mhm,
that's also why it can evolve, why it can be everything you want.
mhm. Because I think there's a factor of unexpectedness in your designs that really jump out.
But
The way.
this was also a very, very difficult case because the architecture there is so present,
Mhm,
you can't fight it. You have to go along with the story, and it was not easy to find the exact narrative.
mhm,
This one is to show this. It's in a house in Italy. The photos aren't that great, but it's a house in Italy on a mountain in Umbria.
mhm,
We did the kitchen of the client in Belgium. He bought that house, and we made the island in Belgium. It shipped to Italy, and it's to show. Also, we rethought the kitchen you see against the wall there. It's very traditional
mhm,
because you don't want in a house like that. You don't want to put too much design stuff. It has to be in balance with also with the architecture and the traditional way it's built. But even then, with because we've built a basic kitchen, very let's say rural, in the spirit of the building, it fits perfectly to add the island as we made it there. Because
mhm,
it's again, it's not the traditional kitchen island. No, it's some kind of a piece of furniture that is put there that is used as an island, as a kitchen island.
mhm. Indeed.
This is a kitchen we did for in a house in Mechelen by the NVA. It's a house by Lucien Engels, which is renovated by the NVA because they already had the experience in renovations of the architects. And yeah, it was a collaboration. I mean, we designed the kitchen without any input of the architects, I could say, but we showed it and we showed it to them, and it was really important that they found it nice and they're really happy with what we did there, for example.
Mhm.
So it's yellow because the yellow comes in the stones. I mean, the how do you say it? The triangular stones you see on the
Indeed.
left.
So in this case, you work with a well mood board that architect supplies you, so that you see which elements you can get inspiration from, and then you.
Oh, even not that, the architect, we know what the architect is going to do and we propose what we would do. And if the architect would say, okay, I'm really not happy with this, then we would try to make something he's also happy with, because for us it's a kitchen we can place in a nice architecture, and for him it's us that place furniture in his project. So for both of us it has to be a nice thing.
Mhm.
This is the highest kitchen of Belgium. It's in the tower, 180 floor. No, sorry, 40th floor in a 180-meter high building,
Mhm.
just in the harbor of Brussels. The highest kitchen built in Belgium. But now it's the company is sold. It was for an industrial guy, and the company is sold, and I don't know who's in there.
Mhm. Mhm. So we saw quite a few residential projects. Your clients are, well, private clients and architects or interior designers, but you also work with promoters or real estate developers.
Maybe it's interesting to go to the next pictures. Yeah, this one, perfect. What we're going to do this year, which is really important, is we did all those kitchens for residential clients. We have some professional clients, but now we decided to launch some fixed modules. After 5 years of NOMAX developments, we found out what the best combination configurations were, and what's by making it standard modules, we can drop the price a bit, and because of that, it becomes interesting also for projects and promoters, and also for people who don't have the big budgets, but still think a kitchen for them is very important and want to and really want to spend some money on it. It's not becoming something really cheap, but it's like the if you have the haute cuisine and you have the bistro version, it's like going to the bistro. It's well thought, it's the best things put together, but at a more attractive price, but the best quality for what you get. That's the idea behind it. This is the really small living space kitchen. This is the basis, let's say. This one has 7 drawers, an oven, a cooking plate, the sink, washing machine, the lave-vaisselle. This is a really practical dishwasher. Yes, indeed. This is really a practical module, and it fills in a whole kitchen. The only thing you still need is a fridge. It can be on the side or it can be integrated in the architecture of the building itself. We did that a lot of times, so that we put the module there, and then the fridge and high cabinets are built in a regular way, which is nothing special. Building in the architecture, like white cabinets that look like a wall. So like that, you again have the module which is there, which looks like furniture, and it makes a big difference. What we're doing in those standard modules is the drawers that you can see, like the big pink one with the little black one on the side, and the ones at the bottom of the kitchen. These ones can be customized, so there you can choose colors in a range of colors, so that the combinations are endless, because you don't have to take everything in pink. For example, you could say, I want a pink drawer there, and I want the yellow sink, and I want the white drawer at the bottom. There are a lot of possibilities.
And in this system, you basically compose yourself the elements, both in configuration.
No, this is what you get. How you see it here, you can't change a thing. It's really the kitchen as you see it. You can buy, which is interesting in the price setting. But you can change the color of some drawers. This is our basic line. Let's say we're going to launch this year. This is the island version, for example. But there is also the island you can buy in this configuration.
How was the prototyping process for this? Well, in a way, already pinning down the product as you wanted to put it in the market, and you know, how did you go through this when you decided to create a standalone element
for this? There's some kind of that's also the difference between these fixed modules and the modular ones. In the modular ones, there's like some kind of a grid we can use to change. Let's say we choose the length, and within the length we can choose the width of the blocks of the modules. That means in production we always have to look, okay, which modules are chosen, etc., etc. Here everything is fixed, which means production is a bit it's more efficient, it's simpler, and all the gains are there. That there's no choice anymore. Only the holes you need to use are there. All the other holes are gone. It is what it is.
Mhm.
But you have the same effect, but there are some restrictions, which means you can choose the material. You can choose a light colors, dark colors, and within the colors you can adapt to drawers, and the sink, for example. So you can make your own image, but the configuration is fixed. This is the B2B version, for example. It's for companies.
Mhm.
It's a coffee corner. It has a small dishwasher. It has a cooker where you can have sparkling and filtered water, coffee machine, little drawer fridge, place for coffee cups, etc. It has a whole functionality of what you need in a company.
Mhm. Tom, just to have an idea of pricing, approximately a model like this, ready to use for well, B2B, like you described.
The model, I know them. It's under the 3 meters, for example, without installation and without delivery is under 10,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay, under 10K.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's a quite a demand for this this type of furniture in offices for sure.
Yeah, and it's not an ugly little kitchenette they put in the corner. It's really a statement thing which is there. I think this one is around 8,000 without VAT, without the appliances, which is similar to other products in the markets, but better. This is an office company, a company restaurant we did in Ghent. There are also we did the whole interior there, and we integrated an island and the wall structure and the wall NOMAX structure.
So this is an example of project where you go of course further than the installation of the kitchen, the production, of course, of the kitchen.
Yeah, we built a project around. We built a project around our products. Let's say. And that's also what we want to do in the future with those fixed products, and eventually with a line which provides more flexibility. That we want to integrate it in other people's products where they can decide how it has to look and what they do with it. There's other interior architects that have their own project and come to us and say, okay, we want a kitchen, it has to be like that, and we can deliver it the way they want.
This is the same project we are looking at?
The same product, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful materiality and nice details.
These are details we work on.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit about this.
This is also an integration of 2 NOMAX structures in a company in Antwerp. These are 6 and 7 meters long, and it's the bigger version of the company module you showed 2 minutes ago. The fridge is in there, the oven is in there. It functions like a big bar where people prepare their food, talk, take coffee, etc. It's the centerpiece of the space. And there we also developed the curtains, for example, that are behind it. We did the lighting you see. It's also a product of us. So we always try to find some opportunities in nice product design within the given space or within the given project, and not always take everything which is on the market. This is the other floor. Same thing, 6 meter long, personally developed. Yeah.
And again, you can see here in the space that the environment. I mean, the white and gray environment. the statement is certainly there, and it's like an art piece. What is?
Yeah, it's a piece that's there. It's not. I'm going to the kitchen. It's like the counter. It has some kind of a bar functionality where everyone finds what he needs.
Yeah, very nice. I'm discovering these images as we go, so it's interesting to see also the you know the texture that you apply to the facade of the furniture with sometimes the coming out handles or just the full how do you call it, face of the drawer that
Yeah,
shows the
there's a lot
border.
of there's a lot of rhythm and a lot of difference
Relief.
in textures and depth, and that's important. It's not a flat dead thing. There's a lot of things happening in the piece itself.
Circling back at your tagline in your website, design with Scandinavian logic and Italian sexiness. I like this tagline. Can you explain a bit the idea behind
Yeah,
it?
it was born when you thought what you were doing, and the Scandinavians, they are from time to time very how do you say it? It's very rational, and it's very rational, and sometimes a bit too dry or a bit too thought through, let's say. And the Italians sometimes they go over the top from time to time, and I think we're a bit in between. We like to take best things from both sides. And if you check it, the funny thing is, if you check it, I can't find the words. Thing is, Ali, if you check it on the map of Europe, we're also just in between.
Yes, that's indeed true.
So voila. No, we try to take the best things of both, the rationality of the Scandinavians and the fun and out of the box, let's say, of the Italians.
Yeah, I heard. I think I used the word unexpectedness before, and I keep finding this in the pictures and details and mix of materials and textures. It's very interesting, very nice.
Thanks. Nice to hear that. This is our DWS desk. It was designed 10 years ago. It's also an adaptation by a project I did. I designed a children's bedroom. Oh, it's. I forgot to put the picture in it. It had been interesting. It came from a bedroom from fixed furniture in Ghent, and I saw some potential in the way I handled the drawers there and how I used the details. So this is the model we did, and now we developed this is with tube steel, let's say, tube steel frame. But now we developed a frame with separate parts, which is all folded steel. This is in the next pictures, which makes it a lot easier. It's a bit smaller, this version. It's not a 1.50 m wide, but 1.30 m, but we also have the 150 version. But it makes it a lot more modular. We can flat pack it. The quality has risen. We adapted some extra functions like the acoustic panels. The cable management is better. It's really a solution for offices. We want to go further there with extra storage and other adaptations. So this thing, the desks with the curtains and the other stuff is really something we can start off to design your office, or for another architect. And this is really important. Another interior architect, for example, can also come to us, say, okay, I have a project here. But these are the company colors or the colors that I have in mind that I want to use, and we can customize it for their project. We can customize the gradients on the curtains because we're not the only one who has gradient curtains, but we are the only one who can do it horizontally, because all the rest prints it just on the width of the rolls of fabric. And we adapt the files in function of the width of the curtains that are needed in the project.
So sorry, and I'll bring back this image. So the curtains are also a product that you have developed.
We developed it. We didn't find curtains that we liked for that project. So we got a fantastic guy who fixes curtains for us, curtain crew, Belgium, in Ghent. And we talked to them and said, and we're not happy with what we can find. And he said, I got a contact in Belgium that can produce the curtains you want. So we started producing them ourselves. It was not an easy job because it's very hard to make a gradient file where you don't have any stripes of diffuse. So it's more complicated than it looks, but it worked out fine. Yeah. This is an example of an apartment. This is a whole interior in an apartment in Chrona. This is pure interior design and materialization. And this is the big one. We're working on it for 3 years now. It's a very big house we're building near to Leuven. It was a client who came to us. He saw a kitchen of us in a magazine, and we proposed the architects. It's a project we're doing with Groen and Bayens from Ghent. They made up the first architectural concept, let's say. But there, it's really a collaboration. I mean, they did the concept of the house and the spaces, the naked spaces, let's say, and then we started to fill it up. But there's in this case, there's really an interaction because we're not putting. It's not only putting some wallpaper on the wall. The interventions we do, like the concrete ceilings and the stairs that are going down, it's all our idea, and the ceiling has curved lines. It's all our inputs. So there it's really a 50-50 collab between the architects and us. We give feedback on both. Both give feedback on the other's interventions. But at the meantime, I didn't say how they had to arrange their architectural plan, let's say. And there are also, they also give us the liberty to fill it in, but everyone has to agree with it. And the first time they saw it, what we proposed, they needed 2 to 3 hours to let it sink in. They're like, okay, what's this? And then after 2 hours, I said, okay, this is going to be great. So,
talking about collaboration, we just saw this architectural project. Do you do collaborations with other designers on products that are either not launched yet or have you done in the past?
Not for the moment, but it's not because I don't want it to. It just didn't happen for the moment. But it's something I'm interested in. And now we're also changing a bit. Like we're concentrating. All our focus goes to the development of the NOMAX kitchens, and we can provide a project around it. But at the same time, we want to push it towards other people that have a project and wants to put their furniture in it, which means we concentrate more and more on the object itself, which means there is more space within the objects to do things with other people. and it will be easier then, I think, if we focus more on the object for other architects or interior architects to implement those things in their projects.
Mhm. Very nice. I have one last question, and that concerns designers who are beginning their professional life and want to launch their collection, their design concepts, going through all that you've been to develop this. What if you had to summarize a couple of advices that you find that are essential? What would they be?
Well, everyone has his own path, let's say, but which I think is one of the most important things is what I believe in is the power of an oeuvre, which means you don't have to do always exactly the same thing, but if you concentrate on one thing and you make it better and you let it evolve and you make variations, etc., but people understand it's one thing, or it all belongs together, then it's better to make 10 good things than one genius thing. Because if people see you can make 10 good things, they see in time and in quantity, you're able to deliver quality. If you got like one giant genius, one trick pony, and nothing else follows, the people don't get confident in what you can do, and it's not interesting. It's interesting to have quantity that has to be. You always need the quality, of course, but that they can recognize from who it is and what he did and of what she did. That's important. An oeuvre,
Yeah, so
a collection of
consistency.
consistency. That's important.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, it's hard because the response doesn't come immediately. But if you're consistent and you believe it will work, then it will work.
Excellent. Tom, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure for me to meet you and again to really discover your work with your comments and with your input. And I hope we can work together in the future. I certainly will check out this work with my team, because I don't think they're familiar with it. And once again, and on the behalf of A and B, thank you very much for your participation.
With pleasure. Yeah, it was a bit sudden with Yoke, who fell out now, so I don't know a
Yes,
lot of you also. So if you can send me some more information, will also be interesting for me.
of
And
course,
I'm
no
also
problem.
interested.
No
All
problem.
right, Modo,
Thank you
thank you
very
very
much.
much. Yeah,
Thank you.
have a nice evening. Eh?
You too. Thank you.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
So I hope you enjoy this. It's been for me very interesting session. Beautiful work, beautiful images, variety of projects. Yeah, colors, materiality. I think the whole thing was very good, and we'll be seeing more from PJMARES, of course, in the future. Let me share one last image with you. So our next live space is on the 31st of March. We will be talking with Benjamin Stoss. I think I'll be doing the interview again. But I'm sure it's going to be very interesting. I hope we will see each other next time. So I will also say goodbye and wish you a fine evening.